Welcome to a Delco Nerd Network Hot Take. If you haven't seen a hot take before, well, it's where a few friends get in a basement, give our thoughts, give our opinions on a TV show, a movie, or a game. Today, it's going to be a TV show, and that TV show is WandaVision. Here to discuss, as always, the triple threat himself, Chris Trio.
Gooch, how you doing?
I'm good, man. I'm good. We have the first Marvel Disney Plus show under our belts, and we're going to lay into it. You know, I'm going to say let's just go right into spoilers. Like, it's 9 episodes. It's kind of hard to talk any of the show without discussing spoilers.
I
so
agree.
If you haven't seen the show, be wary. We will be talking about spoilers.
Full spoilers from here
right,
on in. Yeah.
Yeah, from right away. So 9 episodes on Disney Plus. Trio, what did you think?
Was it 9 or was it 8?
It was 9.
Okay. I really enjoyed this show a lot. Like, I think there's some issues with it, which I'll get into a little bit later. But overall, I think this was a lot of fun and just a joy to watch for me. It was something at the end of the week, every week, that I couldn't wait to check out. I think seeing more of Vision and Wanda together and seeing those interactions between Elizabeth Olsen and Paul Bettany, who just does, he's too good as the Vision. Like, I really love him in this. I like to see him be able to kind of stretch his chops a little bit more, get more time in, because, I mean, he has a few scenes, obviously, a few good stuff in the Avengers movies, but I feel like you get more screen time with him in this whole series than you do in the entire MCU beforehand. But, yeah, overall, I think it was exactly what we were told it was going to be, and I would highly recommend it to anyone. I don't know if I could recommend it to anyone who hasn't watched any other MCU stuff, though, is the only issue, because, like, I don't know. Like, it's funny, because Mare was like, should I watch it? I'm like, I mean, you can, but, like, I just don't know how much you understand.
You need to watch Age of Ultron. You need to watch Civil War. You need to watch Infinity War and Endgame. It's kind of required. Like,
it's just, or you at least need to know what happened there. Like, if not, watch it. But yeah, so I think that's kind of where you could say it falls down. But I think they did a pretty good job of building some suspense and some mystery throughout the weeks. And while I didn't love all the payoffs, I think it ended on a pretty high note for me, and I can't wait to see where it goes. But Gooch, what do you think?
Yeah. So I was on the fence about the show to start. It just didn't really seem to pique my interest. I didn't really have an affinity for old television or old sitcoms, and that's still very much true. The first three episodes. Yeah, we do the 3 episodes, and I'm just like, okay, I am just watching this show at this point. And then the 4th episode, once we kind of go, oh, the present day stuff, here's what's going on. I'm like, now I'm starting to like the show a little bit more. And the mystery level, until about maybe episode 7 or 8, is like up there. And we're like, what's going on? Who's controlling Wanda? What's going on with Wanda? Like, you know, we need some answers. But what's going on here? Absolutely. And I feel like the show starts out really mysterious, and it ends, and everything really wasn't that mysterious. It's not bad, but it's really good. But I think, like, it starts off with that mystery, and then by the end, the mystery I don't think was good enough. And I think a lot of that has to do with fan theories. I think week to week, if this show was dropped...
Did you see Mephisto in the first episode? No.
Exactly.
No,
exactly.
And that is the meme of the internet right now.
Like, it was either Mephisto or Chthon or Doctor Strange.
Nightmare.
Right. Like, it was just like people were having a fucking field day with this show. And I don't think it was necessarily wrong, but when the show comes out and none of that shit is true, and it is just Agatha Harkness not really even doing anything per se, and then it's just like not even a Doctor Strange cameo. It's kind of just like, ugh.
I do think a lot of the blame, falls on fans' expectations. And, like, people, like, I saw people watching the show and theorizing about things where I'm like, why are you reading so much? Like, with the aerospace engineer, and they were like, is this going to be Reed Richards? Is this going to be like, I'm like, where are you getting this inkling that that's where they're going? Like, I don't know. Like, I felt like people were really setting themselves up to be disappointed in a lot of cases. There are a few things the one thing that truly just felt a little world breaking in this for me was Doctor Strange not showing up.
He should have been in that.
He should have, or yes, he should have been the end credit or some
1 word and 3 seconds.
But like
That's
he is the Sorcerer Supreme. He is, and I mean we get that drop that she is like gonna be, she's probably stronger as the Scarlet Witch and stuff like that, which is fine. But like I do think like Strange should have been aware of in some way of what was going on or involved somehow, because like he would feel this magical energy of some kind, I'd assume. But that was truly the only one that I felt was kind of one that I thought was directly like, I don't know, maybe necessary, because like I said, it feels a little world breaking to me that he wouldn't know that that shit's going on.
We're at a point where, again, we don't really know what's going on in the MCU. Are the Avengers a thing? Does Doctor Strange keep tabs on the magical Avengers, aka Scarlet Witch? Like, what's going on? Like,
well,
why?
but I don't even think Strange knew she was magic.
He had to.
Well, but no, I think maybe. But I don't know. I'm curious to see how they
coming out. Like he's seen her fight, and like he has to have some knowledge about it. He also knows about some of the.
No,
stones,
I know, but she's not like casting spells or anything in the same way that he is. So I'm curious if he. No. This is just a question. I don't know. Like I'm curious, like if he just thought she was just a superpower being, or if he knew that she was using magic and just didn't know that. Because I mean, we do get revealed through this that Wanda has always been a witch. And even from when she was younger, and she used the probability hacks to stop that bomb from going off. I mean, you say that's a little ambiguous. Right. I really don't find that to be that. I was just going to
jump in and be like, you know, in that episode 8 where we're kind of going through Wanda's past trauma, and Agatha Harkness is trying to like show her that like she's been doing magic all along, and I kind of interpret that as like Agatha is trying to use her own logic and reason to figure out why Wanda got the power she did, and then use them as a kid without knowing it. And I'm kind of like, well, what if the bomb just didn't go off? Like, there's really no proof that it was a probability hex, other than that's what Agatha Harkness's understanding.
I guess to me, it's like, why would they lie? That seems like that doesn't make any sense to me.
I don't think it's lying. I think it's her just trying to be like, oh, you use a probability hex, duh. And she's like,
well, no, it was like she saw her like the whole point. She literally goes, "Oh, you used the probability." Like she just like, because you see her start to do it, and then that's when she cuts away. She's like, "Oh, you used the probability hex." Now I see
she physically does it.
Yeah, you see her hand move, and she starts to cast the spell. And also, I thought it was a little interesting fact. Like Tony Stark's bombs work; they don't not go off. So yeah, that didn't go off. That didn't go off for a reason. And they did take this series to back to kind of sort of retcon some things with Scarlet Witch in the way, because I mean I felt like from the beginning it was
pretty clear
that it came from the Mind Stone, and that we didn't know if she was necessarily magical or if it was just an energy, or she just was using the Mind Stone energy or whatever it is, or like it just gave her like these telekinesis powers. But it is revealed that yes, she had these innate magical abilities that were fanned by the Mind Stone and caused to become these greater powers. And we find out the Scarlet Witch is forged, not born. So the idea is that all these traumas throughout her life and all these different things has shaped her into the Scarlet Witch, which I thought was really interesting. That, you know, I was really surprised we didn't see in that flashback episode real Pietro.
Yeah.
Like I'm really surprised they didn't bring back Aaron Taylor Johnson at all. And the one thing that really like, another thing that kind of just felt like a bit of a slap in the face on this one, and I kind of compare it to the Nick Fury thing when I was talking to you, was that Pietro reveal. Because like I thought, like part of me was like, I want this obviously to be a connection, because like what else would it be? I would have been fine with them just doing it as a cool nod, but then they kind of turn it into
and that's what it was.
But then they turn it into like the boner joke, and I was like, again, it felt like Nick Fury's eyes getting scratched out by a cat to me. Like I was like, this was really like, it felt like this was kind of like something to nugget on, and then it ended up being just, and I was like,
I remember it like when that episode first aired, and I think we were talking about it in the group chat, and you were like, yeah, like I was like, I think this is just a cameo. I think they're just doing it to be fun, and that's really what it ended up.
It just felt so dumb to, I guess, like it just felt
like,
so.
No, I think this is the
well, no,
merge.
it was like I think this is probably she got him from another dimension.
And then everyone's like, dude, when's Magneto showing up? And
well, that was the.
It's like, what are you guys talking
about? Then people
about?
were like, that's the extra step where I'm like, no, hold, like, can't you just take Pietro first and then we'll go from there? Like, we don't need to think now that Magneto or someone else is going to show up. Like, there is this extrapolation upon where I've seen people go like, they're like, why didn't they do this? I'm like, well, that's your expectations. Like they didn't give you any reasons to believe that this is coming.
If we got this whole season in one go, there would not have been any of this Mephisto shit or any of this Chthon stuff. Or
it just wouldn't have left time to breathe. Yeah, exactly.
Right.
And
we wouldn't. But if we didn't have time to breathe, the theories wouldn't have happened because.
But that also keeps the show in the zeitgeist and keeps people coming back. So it's like it's a catch-22. Like I kind of do like the idea of being able to talk and theorize about these episodes every week to week, and I think they did a great job, or they had the best idea of releasing those first 3 episodes at once. Because if they only released, was it only 2? If they only released the first one,
realistically,
it would have been like
the first 3 probably should. It probably should have been the first 5 episodes, or maybe the first 4
I think
in
the first
one
4,
drop, and then drop the rest later. I think that would have been a better thing, because well, here's the thing. I think a lot of reason why fandoms get disappointed is this shit, when they're allowed to fester in their own shit and and start like theorizing about stuff. And it's different for some movies where like the Snyder Cut is going to be full of this shit, but we also know it's going to be full of this shit. Like, and Zack Snyder is, not alluding to it, but there's going to be a lot of Easter eggs and stuff. And like, with Marvel, like maybe besides James Gunn and maybe the Russos,
well, I mean,
like, there's no other directors like really like diving into like, okay, I left an Easter egg in this for Adam Strange or not Adam Strange, Adam Warlock, and
but whatever. I mean, I guess like there's definitely a ton of comparisons in this from, I think it's the House of M storyline.
Yes, it's House of M,
and like the one where they and the one where they obviously have their children and stuff, and like I think a lot of people were seeing that, and I think a lot of people were seeing that and being like, well, then they're gonna follow all this stuff really, and now that they have the X-Men and stuff like that,
when's she gonna say the equivalent of No More Mutants,
which I thought truly was like it. I thought that was like an interesting idea theory to have, but again, people were getting so invested in like this is going to happen, where I'm like, relax. And even like when the show first started coming out, everyone was like, this is boring, what's going on? I'm like, this show is like exactly what they said it was going to be, right? And then everyone got all disappointed that it was literally the show that they said it was. And I think
that's why it doesn't necessarily sell well. Like those first 3 episodes are like not like, they are what the show is, but at the same time it's kind of just like, if this
it sets up the mystery. You're like, what's going on here?
It sets up the mystery, but I don't think that the first 3 episodes are necessarily like the good episodes. Like, they don't do anything for me other than be like, what the fuck is really going on here? And then we see the beekeeper come out, and Wanda kind of edits that out and edits things differently. And then with Geraldine coming in, who's Monica Rambeau, and we know she's a Captain Marvel character, and she's Photon, and like, how's that gonna work? And she's in this
I really
thing.
liked her in this, actually.
And then we get to episode 4, where like my favorite stuff is when it's not in the WandaVision show, it's outside, and we actually get a serious look at the blip and what happens when everyone just fucking magically comes back, and they're in, and she's in a
that was a scene I didn't quite comprehend while it was happening. I was like,
mean?
I didn't really
know that was.
Well, I was like, wait, what's? Oh,
exactly,
and then it took me a minute. I was like, oh shit, they're coming, because she comes back and she's like, where's my mom? I was like, what is going? I was like, oh, she reformed. I didn't realize. Yeah,
she snapped when her mom was still alive, and she
was like, I guess she was in
later. Her mom got over the cancer, died, like just down the line, and I'm just like, this is what Far From Home, not that Far From Home needed to do, but this is what I wanted from a scene like Far From Home did. I wanted to see this like emotion and this drama of what the blip would actually look like, and you see it, like she runs out of the hospital room, and there's people like everyone's just fucking freaking out and coming back, and like nobody has any idea what's going on.
Again, I did that. It took me a second to register what was happening in that scene at first, but once I was like, oh fuck, this is pretty nutty.
Yeah, and then Monica Rambeau essentially gets signed to this Westview case with what's his name?
Jim. I can't remember his real.
Woo.
Jim, I can't remember his no,
Jimmy Woo? Yes,
Jimmy
Woo.
Well, isn't that's
Randall
his
Park.
actor's name?
No,
he is
Randall
Jimmy
Park.
Woo. I forgot he is Jimmy Woo. Yeah. God, I feel like it's. I'm like, that's a. Anyways, yeah, no, I think character-wise, this show is really amazing. Like, I really do love, and even bringing Darcy back, who was a character I could have cared less about. I found her. She felt very that she fit very well in this show and like kind of made sense.
Yeah.
But again, she just kind of disappears at the end. They're like she didn't want to do a debriefing.
A
Like
lot
okay,
of characters just disappeared.
and then also even like I felt like there was a bit of a not really payoff for what's his name? Not White Vision. No, I like the stuff with White Vision, but Hayward. I was just like, well, so what was he just like? What was he trying to do?
Dude,
I'm like confused.
You know what fucking infuriates me? They're doing the Shield thing again. Why are you making your director, the first time Sword comes up, he's evil? Of course he's fucking got an agenda. Like, really? Like, come on. Like, it really bugs me.
See, I guess that doesn't even necessarily... It just... What bugs me is that I didn't really know what he was trying... Like, I guess the idea was that after the blip, he was trying to basically do the Tony Stark thing, put an suit armor around the world. He wanted to bring back Vision in some capacity.
Right, because Vision was such a valuable weapon.
Yes, and they couldn't do that, so they were just going to start scrapping him for parts. But then... I guess, like, so Wanda comes in and visits, but then, like, she just goes off on his own way, and then he takes, I guess, advantage of this situation to... Because he knows Vision is back, and he's been lying the whole time that she took him. We find out later that obviously they are two separate Visions. I just didn't quite comprehend what his goal was. And I felt like even at the end, he was just kind of taken away.
I think that the goal was to
have a bad
regain control of Vision.
Okay.
The sentient weapon that he thinks he is, which he is.
And then make himself out to look like a hero, I guess, in the idea, in the way of like stopping.
But it just really bugs me that, of course, we got a new agency. Sword is on the rise here, and...
Well, but now it looks like I guess, no, she won't, because she's going up into space. Monica. I don't know.
But Sword is space-based.
Well, in the comics. Now it's the sentient weapon. What is it in the comics? It's the sentient world. It's
sentient weapon observation department. Sentient weapon observation.
No, but that's in the show. But
sorry. No.
I thought it was sentient world.
Just switch world with weapon.
That's what I thought. Yeah,
Same thing. Yeah.
Interesting.
But we see the Fury thing. Like that's a sword base in space. I guarantee it.
Well, no, I thought that was like a. What are those green guys called?
Scrolls?
That was like a scroll.
No, I think it's a sword base.
No, they were all scrolls there.
Right, because who do you think Fury's in league with in space?
Well, yeah, but like the scrolls would have made that. We wouldn't be like,
right, but I still think it's a sword base.
Oh, okay.
How else would that agent be a scroll in sword?
They just do. I mean, how has Nick Fury been a scroll apparently for like however many movies we don't know about? Who knows? I don't.
Right, but that's what I'm saying. The scrolls are in sword, but they're the space sword.
The space sword. I like that more.
Yeah, I just don't like. Again, like stop villainizing these organizations. Stop making the people in them like bad. Just but that's like run with it for a little bit.
But that's like a classic.
It's so.
I mean, government organizations suck. They always do.
I
feel like that's a fine. Like,
I love Shield.
I'm curious. What do you?
I just think they're good. Like. Because I like the fact that there's an organization behind.
Because I think they're the most boring part of the Avengers stuff.
See, I
like Agents of Shield and stuff. Like I don't really care. I guess.
I mean, like, that's fine, but I think it's interesting that the fact that like not the concept of Agents of Shield, the concept of like there's an organization behind the Avengers and like a governmental organization of some sort, and whatever. Like it just makes it feel like more legitimate. Like,
sure.
Even, I mean, the Justice League is kind of not that way, but the Justice League is more legitimately formed in the DC universe than the Avengers are here. The Avengers are never really like integrated into the world quite well. Like they exist, and like maybe for like Civil War they are, but like after that, like they're still like.
Well, yeah, they're disbanded.
Right, but like I want them to just fucking be a thing for a little bit. Like just fucking be a thing for like 2 seconds.
Why? But like. Why do they need to say they're the Avengers? Like to like set like what?
I think it's just cooler that way.
I guess them just working together. I'm like, oh well,
no,
the Avengers.
I want them to be the Avengers.
All right. Well, that's fair.
So and yeah, we don't, like I said earlier, we don't know what the fuck's going on with the Avengers or anyone else. I guess maybe in Bucky and the Winter Soldier, Falcon and the Winter Soldier.
To be honest, I just take it as they don't exist anymore. Like the Avengers don't.
How could the Avengers not exist?
Like the Avengers as a team doesn't, like the Avengers themselves, singular, like by themselves, they're around and doing their stuff. But I don't think there's necessarily like a power dynamic of like.
See, I think I just
a hierarchy
after
of like
Thanos, like that's crazy to even think. What we're
sort
just gonna,
of, but like
we come back, we save the world, and we're still nothing. Like,
well,
I
no,
don't know,
I think
man.
now it's like you don't need the Avengers. Now you all do your own separate thing until we need that big Avengers level threat again. You don't like,
and that's
whereas,
and that's
but again,
fine,
that's
but
where
it's
this
not
falls
like,
down with like the Strange not showing up, because that feels like a threat just so incredibly based in his realm,
right? That he should know.
He
about.
should know in some way.
He's in fucking New York. He's like 2 blocks away.
Like he should be feeling this shit going on. Yeah,
Right. He should know that's
truly
going on.
that's the major. That's like one of the major breaking things in this. And obviously, I mean, she's gonna be in
and like
Multiverse of Madness
course,
and things
Doctor
like
Strange knows about the Darkhold, a book
Yeah.
that they introduced in Agents of Shield, and
But this
they're
doesn't
not-
even seem to be the same one. I don't
Just
think that even really matters.
This is my headcanon we're talking about here. So yeah, the Darkhold kind of makes a return from Agents of Shield, regardless of the canonicity of that show. It doesn't matter. Yeah, and that's where the prophecy of the, or not the prophecy, I guess the chapter of the Scarlet Witch is in, and you know, I would imagine Doctor Strange, being the Sorcerer Supreme for a number of years at this point,
Would know where
actually,
that book is.
Yeah, for a number of years, not including the blip, because he is gone. He would know what's going on.
I do think you have some wiggle room in him coming back and figuring stuff out. Like I saw someone like theorize like, oh well, Agatha got that while the blip happened and while Strange was gone. And I think that's
sure.
no, but again, no, but like that works. Like that truly
Yeah,
narratively
all
is
right.
fine. And I think
I don't
that,
really
like,
care how she got it.
No,
to me, that
but-
doesn't matter.
But what I'm saying is that works, and then that would also make sense why Strange doesn't have that book or doesn't know necessarily where it is. But once she starts using it like that, motherfucker should know where it's at. And one other thing I was a little bit disappointed in was the end fight between Agatha and Wanda. It was a lot of just blue and red streaks being shot at each other. And I don't know, I was kind of hoping, I mean, I guess she doesn't know enough magic yet, but like that fucking Strange scene in Infinity War where he's splitting himself up, he's using the crimson bands, he's using all the fucking shit. And like I want to see her start doing more of that. And I think they can kind of get away with it because the idea is she doesn't need to cast incantations. She doesn't need to do all this stuff because she is so powerful. She can innately do these things. And I think that is kind of interesting. I know that can be kind of boring to some people where it's like, oh, it's just innate talent. But I think the idea here is obviously she's been thrown through the furnace. She's been thrown through the ringer. And that is what has developed her into this. But I did think there was a lot of other things that I appreciated that they addressed in this show in the way of like, what do you, like, you were just shooting red streaks, Wanda. Like, how did you do this? And then she's like, I don't know. And then I think they do a kind of good job of making her more comic book origins and powers canonized in a way that doesn't feel forced to me. I think it feels natural,
Yeah.
if that makes sense.
Yeah. It's funny when you get into the nitty gritty of the show. I have a lot of issues with it, but I like the show. What the show did. How did you feel about Speed and Wiccan? And
I love them. I thought the whole family dynamic was my favorite part of the show.
I couldn't care less.
Really.
Yeah.
I feel like you're the minority on that one because I feel like I
Yeah.
hear everyone talking about it. I thought the
There's
family
something about
dynamic
it
of the
because
show,
I'm just like, I know these kids don't matter all that much.
but that's not true. By the
We'll
end,
see. I mean, we'll see.
no, I mean they're. What do you mean we'll see? She hears them. They're gonna go after. Like they're coming back.
Maybe.
You can say maybe all you want. I would bet you $100 right now that they're gonna show back up.
Stop wiggling your foot.
What? I'm not.
You're not?
No.
Maybe I was.
Gooch trying to call out my wiggling.
No, I heard the water bottle shaking. Anyway.
No, I don't know. I thought they were really well cast. I loved the like nods to their costumes. I thought they were that whole little action
Yeah.
scene they had at the end was fun. I don't know. I really enjoyed them, and I really enjoyed just the whole family dynamic.
No, I don't really have an issue with them. I just kind of, I just didn't care about them personally.
You know what I thought was an
I
interesting.
care about Wanda and Vision, but like I know that like I'm just kind of sitting here and I'm like, I don't buy that these kids are in the bigger picture yet, and that's why I don't care.
Well, you know what I thought was a very interesting line. She was like, "Thank you for choosing me to be your mother." So what does
Yeah.
that mean? Like, do they choose like I'm wondering what they are.
That's what I'm saying.
Like, and
that's where
but
the Mephisto of it, or some grander thing being
And
a
it
part of
seems
this
like they're
would have
going-
made sense.
And it seems like they're going to explain that more. I mean,
I
but
guess.
But what do you mean? I get like they're like, how can you? Why would they?
Because we have no idea what Doctor
Gooch,
Strange
in
and the
what
Multiverse of
world would
Madness
you
is.
would she hear their voices and then they not show up and they do nothing? They just completely ignore.
Well, no, I'm not saying they don't show up, but like, what are they going to end up being?
Oh, I don't know. We're gonna
That's
have to
what
wait
I'm
and
saying.
find out.
Are they actually gonna turn into Wiccan and Speed and actually be Young Avengers?
Well, I
don't think.
I
in
don't
my
remember
opinion.
how it happens in the comics, but I know they do go away for they get reabsorbed into Mephisto, and then they somehow come back in another way. But I don't know.
Yeah, but I'm just sitting here and I'm like, is that gonna happen?
I think it's pretty safe to say yes, like without a doubt, in my opinion. And just in the way they set up.
Yeah, I'm kind of wondering. It's like, okay, like how does Doctor Strange like run into Wanda in this?
Well, so
him training her and where it looks like I think she's in Sokovia. I could be wrong. It doesn't. There's no indication of where she is, but it looks like it could be Sokovia. And yeah, she's in this house. I kind of expected like, you know, she has looks like her astral form is
her
studying,
astral projection is studying while her body is like working around.
right, or like just fucking relaxing.
Yeah.
I kind of half expected like Doctor Strange to
be in the corner or something. Yeah,
or not even in the corner, to like walk in and see that and be like, oh no, because she's reading the Darkhold, and the Darkhold is not a necessarily good book. And that offers another thing. Are they building up Scarlet Witch to be a villain like she is in the comics, like she is in House of M?
Yeah, I don't know. I know the villain of the next one is rumored to be Nightmare for Doctor Strange. And
again, it is Doctor Strange movie. So how does the Wanda stuff like that's where I'm going with it. Like,
what about Captain America: Civil War?
What do you mean?
They treat all those characters for like
that's
where do they sit? Like where I don't know.
Right,
like,
but oh yeah, I guess they name it. But like Civil War is a story that.
But that is a Captain America movie.
But
that
they
is
didn't
focused.
They
on,
didn't need to call it Captain America.
Yeah, they did. If they filmed it like that, I would.
Yeah.
Like
the
if
way they filmed
yes.
it, sure.
Yeah,
but like I feel like
is
they could have filmed it differently and just called it like Marvel.
the Avengers
Civil War
or something.
Right.
No, and
Yeah.
I think that is an Avengers 2.5. I would give you that. But no, I don't know. Like I think she fits
good
very.
point.
Like
Good
I think she fits well into that. I think they did set up a storyline here that could be very interesting. And you know, I don't think this show was ever intended to be some big bang buster Marvel stuff. I think it's kind of turned into that like reception, considering we haven't had a Marvel thing in over a year since this came out.
Very true. This is the first time we're talking Marvel since I'm not even going to count New Mutants.
Yeah.
Far From Home.
Yeah. And we were supposed to have Black
Eternals
Widow
and
by
Black
now.
Widow by
Yeah,
now.
and Eternals. So they weren't supposed to be this early out of the gate. I think this was supposed to be a little bit more of like a lull over. But since we're back into it, this is the first thing. Everyone's kind of like, I want a little bit more. And you know, that's fair to a degree. I hear you. Like I said, truly the only missed opportunity here, in my opinion, is that Doctor Strange not showing up.
What did you? Let's go back to the Vision. What did you think of the White Vision stuff?
I liked I liked their battle a lot more than Agatha. And
Yeah, I would agree.
I thought that
I think
it was
Vision fighting is always cool.
I think so too. His phasing and his mind beam and all that. And it was funny. I remember watching when he goes to like rip out the Mind Stone and he phases. I was like, why didn't he do that in Endgame or Infinity War? I'm like, oh, because he couldn't. I forgot. He gets stabbed. He got stabbed by the guy and he couldn't phase anymore because of it. Which I was like, good writing. That's good writing because I thought I was like, why the fuck
Thanks,
didn't he do it? Yeah, good job. But yeah, that was great. And I don't know. I thought their whole. I can't remember the ship of what, like the idea of like
Ship of Theseus.
the ship of Theseus metaphor and them kind of going back. And I'm like, he was like,
So-
well, you can't destroy the Vision. You are the Vision. He's like, I request elaboration. I'm like,
Yeah, I really like that.
Yeah.
He's like, I request elaboration. My thing about that is, so we don't know what happens to the White Vision, who is a comic book character who is basically just Vision but blank slate. His mind gets wiped and he's just a robot.
well, he has the memories, but he has none of the emotion attached to those in the comics. So he he remembers all the stuff with Wanda in the comics, White Vision, but he doesn't have. He's just cold and emotionless.
Yeah. So my thinking is, after that conversation, he would kill himself.
Vision.
His objective is to destroy the Vision. He is the Vision.
Well, but I think he's no longer thinking in the just prime directive.
What happened to him?
I think he's going off. I think he got these memories back, just like White Vision in the comics. He has no emotional register with them, and he's just. I think he's going to go off and basically have a journey of like self-identify. Like, what is he? Is he the real
my
Vision?
issue? We killed Vision off just to bring him right back again.
Gooch, that's kind of like. I
know
what
it's
you're
comics,
saying,
but
like,
it doesn't work in movies.
with Vision. With him, he's the one that I really don't like. I don't know. It works fine for me.
It's just I'm just kind of like,
I hear you, and I can't.
Like,
I can't really.
Deaths need to matter. Decisions need to matter. The things need to have consequence. I get it works in comics. You're right, but I don't think it works in movies. I think things need to just be like a little more solidified. Where like same with
I would agree with
Loki.
you.
And like I was having a conversation with I think maybe you and Matt Spurrier, and I was like, I know Loki isn't our Loki, but it annoys me that they found a way to bring him back just to do that show. Like, it just bothers me. They killed him 3 fucking times. Why can't he just stay fucking dead? Because they want to capitalize off Tom
money
Hiddleston's
talks.
popularity.
Yeah, no, and again, that's
and
again, unfortunately, that is how it goes in comic books as well.
If we don't see the Vision for like 2 or 3 years and he comes back, I'd like that more, but I don't want to see him immediately. So, we're not going to see him in Black Widow. We're not going to see him in Eternals. We're not going to see him in Shang-Chi. We're not going to see him in... no way we're seeing him in Captain Falcon and the Winter Soldier. Or
Captain Falcon and the Winter Soldier.
Falcon and the Winter Soldier, because that was supposed to be before WandaVision.
Yep. Which is funny.
What's coming up? What else? Probably not going to see him in Loki.
No, I think he's going to show up in Multiverse Madness.
Maybe. He's kind of a rogue element to all that, but like maybe.
Sure. Yeah, no,
he doesn't really fit in necessarily to that.
I mean,
schema.
It's just because Wanda's there. Was really the reason I'm saying that.
Right.
But I don't know. I think overall the show for me was a hell of a good time. It didn't end as bombastically maybe as I was hoping it would. But I think they explored a lot of cool elements. I liked seeing Wanda fleshed out more. I liked seeing Vision's story fleshed out more. I really like that scene where it's after Pietro's death and he gives her the line about grief, like, what is grief if not love persisting and stuff. Like, I think there's some truly great writing when it comes to Vision.
It's a really good line.
It is, and it's just... their moments of interaction, their chemistry is amazing.
See, but like, I like Vision most when he's still like kind of a robot. I don't like... WandaVision Vision isn't really Vision. He is like humanized, like the best the what Wanda wants the Vision to be Vision.
Well, I took it more as what she remembers the Vision being.
Right, but he
was always perfect to her is the idea. I felt like
not necessarily perfect, but like he acts more like a human being. I kind of like when he like that when the Vision is like still like a robot but still has some humanity but isn't full human.
Yeah, I don't know. I felt like he was very on the...
from that version of him that's why I like it.
I guess like I don't know, it felt like they felt like the same characters to me from Avengers, like except obviously they didn't have some of the memories, but like that Vision in this felt like the Avengers that we saw in Endgame.
Do you think it's interesting that she just created a version of the Vision because he's made from the Mind Stone? It's like, oh, that makes sense.
I thought that was cool too. Yeah, I thought because
and
it was interesting seeing like how he was like he was yellow and like so she talks about how he's like the piece of the Mind Stone that she still had in her head basically and like all of her thoughts and memories and stuff. I thought it was really good, and I thought they're like kind of nice proper goodbye, like when he's dematerializing or whatever and stuff like that. It was really powerful.
The cube when they're getting cubed out like in House of M.
Yeah. No, I thought it was good, and I thought the whole idea of that town just being tortured by Wanda that whole time.
So, and that's something else. It's like, okay, like what are the repercussions of this?
Like, I did think it was kind of weird how Monica was just like, "Hey, it's okay, Wanda. Like this happens to us all. Like this just happens to everyone."
Swords there, and they just kind of like let her go. Like
it's not even necessarily they can't do anything.
Debatable. We don't know what Sword has asset wise. We really don't.
Nothing that takes down Wanda.
We don't know that.
Yes, we do. They would.
Captain Marvel could definitely be in Sword. 100%.
Sure, you think Captain Marvel could take out Wanda? Because I think that's not even sort of a competition.
I mean, the way they talk about Captain Marvel.
I know it's hilarious, but
the
like,
way we see her, no.
It's I don't know.
Sorry.
No. That's it.
We didn't talk about Monica Rambeau a lot. I like how she gets her powers. It's pretty interesting. You think they're setting her up for Captain Marvel 2? Or
absolutely.
Miss Marvel?
Captain Marvel 2.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think that's absolutely what it is.
So the question is she going to be Photon or Spectre?
Is it Spectre or Spectrum?
Spectre. She's been Captain Marvel, Spectre, and Photon. I wonder. I assume they're going to go Photon. She does say photon in the show.
No, I think that's the way to go.
Yeah, and like I thought it was interesting, like when they bring up Captain Marvel, like clearly there's some beef, or like like she has
something's like she probably just feels like abandoned by her or something. Like
I feel like it was a good way to set up this character.
I think so too.
Yeah,
character I don't really know or
really
care
had
much
nothing
about,
to do with the show in general, but like who knows? Maybe she's gonna be running Sword. I kind of fucking hope, dude. I don't think anything bad's gonna happen to Sword, but I just going back to that, I don't like seeing like the Hydra thing happen again. Like, can we not? Can we just have an organization?
Sure,
like,
I guess that
this
cool. Didn't feel like the Hydra thing again to me in the way. Like this just felt like a shitty.
Yeah,
leader,
but like who the
like,
fuck was Hayward? And like Sword apparently existed.
Yeah. He was just the
maybe-
guy at the top of the totem pole that was left after the snap.
True, yeah.
That's just really it. Like that was.
And I also like his lines about that. Like,
No, I think
his
there is some interesting.
PTSD
I think
from the snap.
and I think there's some validity, but then there's just like this weird turn that they take with him, where they turn him like cartoonish. To me, like he
Yeah.
just seems to be doing evil things to do evil things. Like I don't know, but I think that was probably the more disappointing part for me.
It was
Anything
one
else,
thing.
Gooch?
Yeah, there's one thing. Shit.
Do 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 do. Ragucci, Gucci.
I gotta get this point. Shit.
What is like what is it relate?
I think it was something about Hayward.
You mean Mephisto? No.
Yeah, I do. Remember that theory?
Well, it was funny. I remember people, they were like, yes, the only other place we saw Hex was in Hayward's office, so he is Mephisto. Like,
yeah,
it's like,
all the Hex stuff turned out to be like just Wanda's powers being called like her.
well, because in the comics they're called hexes, like what she called.
yeah, I mean,
so,
a Hex is like
it was a
spell.
kind of roundabout way to get there to like use the right lingo.
Right. Yeah, and I like how they name drop chaos magic. We didn't talk about Agatha Harkness too much. Did you want to?
Yeah, so I
mean,
thought
she's really simple. It's
she
kinda
is. She's
funny,
just
like,
trying to drain Wanda's power, apparently. And like, so was she living in that town, or did she come to that town after it was like when she caused the big magic explosion?
I think she picked. You know, I guess these magic people have a radar.
Except for Doctor Strange.
Yeah, except for Doctor Strange, and she picked up on it, and she's like, "Who the fuck, Scarlet or like, Wanda Maximoff, like the Avenger? Like, what the fuck is this?" And she like infiltrated it and started twisting it a little bit. So it wasn't Agatha's creation; it was Wanda's, but Agatha was leading her on and got her to have kids and
wanted to see the extent of her powers and how they like worked, and then she tried to drain them.
Going back to the like, I wonder like what the Westview incident is going to. I hope they call it the Westview incident. Like what that's gonna be, because dude, those townspeople, like they were looking at her and they were like,
fuck
Jesus
you.
Christ.
Yeah, like that's insane.
I mean, like yeah, like what are the larger implications of this is the curious question. And yeah, like is Wanda an Avenger? Like what's going on with the Avengers? Like it's like, again, the more I think about it, the more questions I have. I feel like this is with everything with Marvel, but like there's too much unanswered shit all the time.
Yeah, sure, but I guess I feel like I got a pretty satisfying end to this, and I don't know, like I don't really like I'm not really left like dangling like
I think I'd be more sated if Doctor Strange was clear.
Truly, that's what I agree.
And going back to it, it just doesn't make sense, because they said before, like the minute they announced this show, they said this would tie into Doctor Strange and the Multiverse of Madness. So like you kind of expected that.
I mean, Agatha does stay like something like you don't know what you just unleashed or something like that. And I guess that's supposed to be a hint towards like something of like something bigger down the, like that she has caused by like using her powers.
Scarlet Witch is like a being in the magical universe that is just not exists.
She basically caused or
she is this iteration of the Scarlet Witch. The Scarlet Witch has been a being
like prophesized to
in
basically destroy the Earth is what she says too, which is interesting. But yeah, I don't know. I think she's gonna come back. Obviously, I think they sent that up big time. I think
it's really fucked up what she did to her.
Oh yeah, she's just like, have fun in this town, bitch.
Like she just like brainwashes her and like
kind of. But like,
I guarantee she'll be back.
No, she is. I think she's and she even says like she's like, I'll know exactly where to find you. Yeah,
right. Because Agatha Harkness, if you didn't know in the comics, is a mentor for Scarlet Witch.
Yes, and sometimes villain. It's very like back and forth. I don't know too much about it, but Mephisto was probably involved. No.
Yeah.
But
WandaVision was good. I'm glad it's one season. I just, being the Marvel nerd, it was the mystery didn't pay off for me in the end. I think it was the ending was just too simple for what the show, the premise of the show being so mysterious was. Do I have that expectation with Falcon and the Winter Soldier? No. There's no expectation.
I'm really not even excited for that show.
I'm more excited for it because I think like I like those characters better than
I do too, but I don't know if I like the dynamic that they're going with in the trailers and stuff is just not.
we'll see.
Yeah, no, hey, I'm gonna watch it. Obviously, I just
Yeah.
It's
like,
not really
the U.S.
like,
agent thing looks interesting.
Yeah.
And the Zemo stuff looks interesting, but like there's no mystery. So there could very well be a mystery, but we just don't. That's not the premise of the. That's not what the marketing is.
Sure.
Like for WandaVision, it was this. What the fuck's going on? Why is Wanda?
Well, it's funny. It's not. Yeah, it's
sitcoms.
like, yeah, it's like here's just, and it wasn't even necessarily like when they were presented. It's just like here's just a. It's just a sitcom. And you're
Real
like,
quick,
what's-
we
yeah.
didn't actually talk about the sitcom portion of it, or like,
Oh well, yeah. I mean, I
Yeah.
thought we kind of did at the beginning. I mean, I don't.
well, I guess I mentioned the fact that I don't have an affinity for like any sitcom. So like all the like the I Love Lucy references, the Andy Griffith Show, Leave It to Beaver stuff, and then as we get into the 70s, it's the Brady Bunch, and
I did really like the payoff with like
the
her-
intros
yeah.
and stuff, like all the references. Like I'm not into sitcoms, so it doesn't really do anything for me.
Sure.
Besides like Malcolm in the Middle and Modern Family, which is the only like that's our generation. And I watched I Love Lucy as a kid and some other black and white shows with my parents, but like again, it just didn't do anything for me. But other people are really about
Yeah,
it.
no, it's like I don't have any type of connection to sitcoms or anything like that, but I did thoroughly enjoy those episodes. I found them fun to watch, and I thought they were cool little time capsules to show, like how shows were set up back then. And I thought the payoff of just Wanda that being her only escape as a child with her parents, I thought was kind of very emotionally fulfilling, and like seeing the direct references that they took from these shows, like her watching.
One thing I almost forgot to mention was I feel like this show was very predictable. Like everything, like the minute Catherine Hahn was casted, we knew, like everyone was like Agatha Harkness, and then like the sitcoms, like going back to it's like, well, I
Well, it's
guarantee
kind
she
of just
watched
like- but it's-
sitcoms as a kid, and that's where she's getting.
But it's also
these
like, where
memories.
else would that go? Like, you know what I mean?
Yeah,
like,
but like it
I
kind of
guess that
sucks
didn't,
when
like,
you just know everything before.
I guess I didn't feel like I knew everything. I felt like that was the kind of easier thing to pull off, but like I felt like there were still a lot of big like reveals and like interesting things going on in that within those reveals. But no, I agree.
and maybe it's because it had too much. Not that maybe it didn't have too much time cooking in the oven. Yeah, I don't know. I'm just a fucking nerd.
Yeah, you piece of shit. I say watch it. Gooch, I think also says
Yeah,
watch
yeah,
it.
of course.
But Gooch, is there anything else on WandaVision? WandaVision.
No, I'm excited. We're Falcon and the Winter Soldier.
We're in the swing of these
2 weeks from now. It's gonna be interesting. And then what's after that? Well, Black Widow actually.
Yeah, that's supposed to come in the theaters, and then
How much episodes is what's it called?
probably same 8. I want to say, but we'll see.
And is that only gonna be one season?
We don't know.
That I could see being drug out into more.
I could see that being one or
WandaVision
two.
was clearly like, okay, this is a one.
It was like a 9-hour movie or an 8-hour movie, truly.
Yeah.
But I think that does it for us here today on the Delco Nerd Network podcast. Thank you so much for joining us along on our review of WandaVision. Be sure to let us know what you think. What did you guys think? Did you enjoy the show? Would you recommend it to a friend? Will you watch it 1,000 times more? Whatever it is, let us know in the comments. Share this around. We really do appreciate it. You can find this podcast wherever podcasts are found. Just search Delco Nerd Network. We are on all the social medias at Delco Nerds on their Facebook page, YouTube. Just search our name. We have a fun little Discord chat where you can come hang out with some fellow like-minded nerds to talk about everything from video games to movies and everything in between. You can find all this information on our website, DelcoNerdNetwork.com. For Gooch, I've been Trio. Thanks for watching, guys. Stay nerdy, and we will see you next time.